infantry. Square formation!
Friends, welcome back again to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord related, especially Advanced Battlefield Command and Tactics. And welcome back to episode 2 of our Peasants Revolt. We have Cole, our main protagonist here, outside of Morenia Castle. And we continue to hone and take a look and get familiar with this bandit army. Our army is comprised entirely of minor clans, bandits, militia, thugs and brigands and whatnot that we've accumulated over the past couple years of game time, and we are getting closer to the point where these guys are going to be used with a true mission. Right now we are still part of the Asurai territory, Asurai Kingdom. We are working for the Sultan Unquid, and he has declared a war indemnity on our clan of 1 million gold per month. Or per quarter, I should say. Feels like a month because it's every 20 days. Of course, that's a crushing fine to be placed on anybody, but especially such a new kingdom as ours. For the time being, we remain loyal to the Asurai, although obviously, if you can tell from the storyline of this, that's not going to be the case throughout this entire campaign. Now, the Asurai are at war with 3 different kingdoms, but they have a vast territory in this kingdom. Of course, a lot of this has been our help. A lot of this has been part of the process of accumulating troops, and they're going to get a little bit more of our help here because we are going to defend Morenia Castle. Now, part of it is selfish. I want to get these troops outside of Morenia Castle. Inside Morenia Castle is about 130, 150 bandit-like troops, militia and whatnot, and troops are going to be very dear for us in this series. Of course, we're playing with normal player advantage. In this episode, I'll talk more about some of the disadvantages and advantages we are going to inflict and have for this campaign, and I will do so as this episode gets along. Now, as you can see, we're recruiting only prisoners that are bandits, minor clans, and militia. We're not going to be using any of the normal troop tree line in this entire campaign. Now, we do have custom weapons. Cole spent a lot of his time in exile smithing, right? This guy wanted to get his hands dirty, and so he was striking the hot iron and making nasty weapons. That'll be an integral part of this. These are pretty tough armies, but they're not earth-shattering. That'll be a pretty integral part of this campaign, but not the main feature, of course. So we're going to defend this castle, and if this looks crazy, I assure you this is possible. This is one of the most defensible castle layouts in all of Bannerlord. It is the Veron Castle. It is the Gersagos Castle. There's a couple others that I can't remember off the top of my head that all have this layout, and boy is it a doozy, right? There's all kinds of angles to pound the enemy. The courtyard is above the gatehouse, so your troops can shoot down into the gatehouse. It is nasty, and that's why we're voluntarily engaging in this siege. Now, obviously, I'm hoping to have less than 150 deaths. That way we can rescue these prisoners from this castle without suffering a negative outcome, but you just never know. Partly we're doing this also to get familiar with these guys, right? I'm getting down to the ground level here and looking at these troops up close and trying to figure out some strategy. It's going to take a lot of thinking to have any success in this campaign with this ragtag group of warriors. Now, I want, in this case, to have a strong group of spear militia guarding the gate in a square, the first division there. Cole will defend or lead rather the 3rd division. This will also be a javelin division. I want to have shock troops, but we're going to have very few shock troops in this campaign, with the exception of looters. Some of the looters have a 2-handed weapon, and then also some of the Skolderbroda, I think is how you pronounce it. That minor clan, some of those guys have a 2-handed axe. So I'll tell you a little bit tactically about how we're going to set this up here. The 4th Corps is going to be a mixed archer infantry division, and we'll put them up on the left wall here. Fans of the channel are probably familiar with many of these steps here for this castle. Even though we're outnumbered 5-1 and the enemy has much better troops, if we use our head here, if we use the space provided by this courtyard, we should be able to pull this victory out. Of course, if we lose this, that'll be a disaster, right? I will just roll with that for the campaign. Much like our Aserai campaign, with very rare exception, we won't be saved scumming. So 4th Corps here. I've got too many units in this probably. I'd like to have a bunch of archers stretched out, but I don't want them like that. That's way too vulnerable. They will be shot from outside, especially these little unarmored archers that we have. So apologies here. This does take a little finagling. The system is far from perfect. I am aware that there's a mod called Scatter Around or something like that, and it's a much better scatter than the game provides. However, with my mix of mods, it causes my game to crash. So unfortunately, we won't be using that mod here. Now, 2 different flanking skirmisher divisions. Let's do the second and 3rd and shield walls here facing the square. And we will have those guys on hold fire. That way, when I want those guys to throw javelins, they will. We have lots of javelins in the army. And in a way, this campaign is also a little bit of a javelin-only army. Now, that's not entirely accurate. I guess the better way is to say this is a javelin-heavy army. We have a lot of javelin throwers, not very many shock troops. And that's part of the strategy that I'm starting to form here in my head, right? Strategy for tactics. Tactics is the act of actually enacting those strategies. I'm basically doing some brainstorming before I get to the serious battles in this campaign of how I use this ragtag group. They have strengths and they have weaknesses, and I'll be talking about that in the campaign. Now, sometimes you can get these guys in a perfect line. Again, it takes about 10 seconds sometimes to sort of configure this, and eventually if you just keep playing with it, it's kicking my ass today. Sometimes if you keep playing with it, it'll spread. There we go. Perfect. It spreads them out beautifully like that on all these little rooftops. All of those guys now have a nice perch to shoot down on. And we will keep the 8th Corps back here in reserve. We are using the battle size mod, so there's a huge amount of troops on the battlefield. If it seems like we have a lot of troops, that means the enemy has even more. Now, of course, the very first thing I want to do here is try to destroy the siege tower. I didn't actually see if they had a siege tower. We will go take a look and try to destroy that. And of course, if they don't have that, we will fling some Greek fire into their packed ranks. Pardon me, excuse me. I'm doing that mostly just to look at these guys. They are raggedy, right? There's almost no guys there that have a shield or armor. But that's how we want it for this series, right? We are going to try to make an impact here in Calradia with a bunch of scrubs, right? With a bunch of militia, with a bunch of looters. We've got, of course, we have forest bandits. We have about 150, 200 militia, and mostly that's been collected through prisoners, right? When a enemy kingdom takes over a castle, sometimes they'll take prisoners. You can then rescue them and add those militia forces to your army. But it's very painfully slow to develop this kind of an army. Over the course of about 2 years of game time, maybe even 3 years, I gathered a lot of these troops and put them in cities. We do have 2 cities and 2 castles, and I will show more of that later on in this campaign. All right, so as we fire out some catapults here into the enemy ranks, let's talk about our army's strengths and weaknesses, right? What kind of units do we have? Well, we have Sea Raiders. Not very many, but we have some Sea Raiders. We have actually quite a few Lake Rats, and that is because one of the mods we're using is called Dangerous Bandits. And what that does is it makes the bandits parties larger. So instead of, there being 26 Sea Raiders, there will be 126. That also makes them stronger too. It'll put non-Sea Raider units into those armies. For example, the Sea Raiders get Lake Rats. Whoever made this mod was able to get in there and adjust what kind of troops are part of each of the bandits. To give you another example, I think the Forest Bandits have bushwhackers, but I think they also have some other unique archer. All right, the enemy's up here ready to go for some explosive free throw shots here. And I will continue to sort of throw these bombs and tell you more about our army. So militia, we've got a decent amount of militia, maybe 150, but most militia is pretty weak. Some of their archers do have 2 bags of arrows, 2 quivers of arrows. That helps. And of course, their infantry is very weak, mostly spear heavy, not going to be of any real use outside of squares. Minor clans, we do have some minor clans, and I should mention that one. The Boer veteran, which is a crossbow type of unit, is one that we have recruited in significant numbers at the beginning of this campaign, fighting Valandia over and over again. Valandia was their minor clan vassal. You won't see me doing a whole lot of fighting against heavily armored foes, at least not 5-on-1. I don't have much armor here, so you're going to see me play pretty passive, at least at times in this campaign. We'll see. I'll try to take advantage of situations like this where they're facing the other way, and we will pound these guys. Oh, shit. Yeah, you see, just like that, that guy fucking slugged the shit out of me. All right, let's push through. Motherfucker, I just got shoved off. Okay, we didn't quite die, almost. Not a good start here, though. A very poor start so far to this siege. All right, let's see what this javelin volley can do, right? We will turn the enemy's backs by moving that square away from us and then rain in javelins here, right? I don't want these 2 divisions, the 2nd and 3rd. Oh, you're going to guard up high, huh? You guarding your feet? No, not quite. I don't want these divisions charging. I want them throwing all their javelins, especially the Lake Rat units. Even the Lake Rat veterans have 10 javelins. We have some Beni Zilal. The Beni Zilal are another minor clan we have in significant numbers, and that is because they come, I think they come with maybe the desert bandits. They're not part of vanilla Bannerlord per se as bandits, but with this dangerous bandit mod, they are part of it. So we are going to have some minor clan help, right? Beni Zilal, we're going to have some Lake Rats, we're going to have some forest bandits. If you're catching a theme with that, and maybe you're not, but if you're one of those guys that recognize patterns, all of those guys have range. And we're going to need that, right? We're not going to be able to slug it out with our militia against fucking legionaries, right? Even though they're going to roar up all beastly with their bull haircut, I'll tear your limbs, right? It's still, it's not going to be very effective. Now here, you're going to see me just get in and get out, right? Because I have 0 health, and I'm wearing very light armor. That's actually not totally accurate. I'm wearing, get up, I'm wearing poor head armor. He's got a bearskin head, and we're probably going to stick with that through much of this campaign. It's purposeful, right? We don't want to run around with a big plate armor uniform, because the whole idea is that our main protagonist here, Cole, is against the nobility here, right? He is, if you don't know the storyline, if you missed episode 1 for somehow in 20 seconds, he was sentenced for murdering another noble. He took a city and then murdered a noble who had murdered his sister, right? So it was a little bit of vengeance, bloodlust, a little bit of vigilantism. And the Sultan, Unquid, does not like Cole, does not like his family. And so he applied a very harsh penalty, and that, of course, is part of the storyline, right? That is part of the oppressive storyline here. So now Cole is no longer noble, and so he put away all of his fancy armor. You won't see our companions running around in heavy plate in this series, right? It's going to be, again, one of the themes. All right, so we've got some minor clans. We've got some militia. What else do we have, right? We've got bandits, right? We're going to be able to pick up actual forest bandits. We're going to pick up looters, and it's going to be a lot of them, and I should explain. There's a couple things going on here that are going to make it this somewhat possible for us. And what I mean by somewhat possible is not impossible. We're going to be readily restocked for battle with looters. There are looters, just like in your campaign. The difference, though, is that we have like 500 looters running around in this campaign map. That is from the Dangerous Bandit mod. It adjusts one of the game settings and makes the looter bands huge. Well, we also have the perks that make it so that surrendering looter bands will join your army, right? So we're going to be able to recruit looters almost at will. That means we will have, in some effect, cannon fodder, sort of shock troop looters, even though they're going to be weak. 300 of them will still do some damage, right? And of course, we will use them strategically if we can figure it out, right? I don't know how long this campaign is going to go. I do have victory conditions. I'm not going to talk about it here mid-battle. In fact, I'm trying to survive, most importantly. But I want to fill some of the early stages of this battle with some of those parameters. So I'm going to try to keep this series moving right along. We'll do some editing, but I also, of course, want to keep you guys in the loop what's going to happen in this campaign. Now, again, I'm just holding this 3rd division because these guys still have javelins, right? I keep looking at the little... Oh, shit, almost got stabbed there. I keep looking at the little bags on their shoulder, and even though the unit overall might be low on ammo, if I've got lake rats or whoever, right, bandits and brigands still with javelins, I want these guys at range. That way they're not getting attacked, the archers could still work, and these guys can keep chucking their javelins, right? Every time I look down at their shoulder, I still see a few javelins, and we're going to take full advantage of that. Now, those guys are doing great up there. We got the enemy facing the other way because the square is there. Of course, if they charge here, we will either charge with this 3rd division or we will move them in a square and put them on the other side of that enemy force and jam the gate, basically. Now, the archers are going up to the other division there. I split that division, then you just tell them to stop, and that's a really good position for them. Those guys on the roof are holding out. Our 6th and 7th Corps here are shooting over our infantry, pounding the enemy. And so far, so good, right? We're suffering losses, of course, right? But we have these 2 different infantry divisions. We can use these guys in reserve. And don't forget, I have a relatively strong 8th division waiting in extra reserve. They're actually not even visible right now on the battlefield. I tucked them way back up by the upper castle, the upper donjon. Oh, shit. Okay, somehow that didn't kill me. I'm down to... 2 hit points now. I don't have very many. And again, I'm going to be kind of defensive here as I try not to get killed. In a siege defense like this, unless it's really looking bad, you want to play a little bit more defensive when you have this kind of health, of course, because if the AI takes over your troops, it'll go badly. That looks great. Those archers are all shooting. The other guys over here look good. Those guys look pretty good. And I still have that 8th Corps just waiting up there, either to charge and jam the gate or to bring more troops down as archers. Now I've got these different divisions to play squares with. Now that they're out of javelins, they can become defensive infantry. And we're going to do a lot of I don't know what you want to call it, improvisation tactics with this army. We're going to have to, right? I'm already brainstorming how we're going to defeat 500 heavy cavalry, right? We're going to have advanced strategies. That's going to be part of the fun. All right, so we've got a pillar defense set up now. This is a square on both sides of the gate. So the enemy basically is attracted to each side. It's a little bit like a ranged false gap, right? The enemy is going to attack one of those squares, most likely, as long as we don't charge the center here. This fucking guy is chasing after me. Kill this fucking guy for me. And that allows our archers to work. You see our archers are just shredding everything. Actually, those guys are trying to get to the upper area. Fuck that. Charge. Charge these bitches. They're trying to get to the upper area to rally. We're not letting them get up there. Alright, wrap these guys up pretty good. These bitches are trying to get up into that gatehouse so they can form a mass of like 100 troops and then storm down on us. I don't think so. Alright, so far so good. We're going to continue dividing divisions. I get asked all the time. This is just F1, F3, F5 on the PC. Dividing your units here, especially because I want to continue to make these squares. Shit, that's all enemy troops. Pound them, archers. I do have some 8th Corps I can charge here. The 7th is still positioned well up there. And I've used the analogy before, but as a commander at this stage, I'm just taking care of things like a mother goose. We'll speed through this castle defense a little bit more because I think we've got a pretty good grip on it, right? The death spam on the right here tells you that we're winning. But it's hardly over, right? The enemy's swarming that side. I'm going to have to break more units off to help the 4th. I might even pull the 4th off. I could pull them off completely. The enemy's pouring through the gate still, but they're now down to middle tier troops. These are no longer elite troops. I mean, I see a few higher end troops in there, some archers mostly, as their archers are starting to charge now. Of course, that's one of the big advantages of this strategy, is that the enemy archers have nothing to shoot at, right? All of our units are off the walls. And so you see this dipshit crossbowman right here, they have no choice but to charge the castle, and these are mostly archers with no shields. So how do you think that's going to go? Alright, let's get this elongated 4th Corps up here. I'm getting pretty close to the point where we might start putting our own archers on the wall and pound their infantry outside. We'll see what this looks like. They actually have archers starting to come in and shoot our troops. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. I might even charge those fucks. But look at the death band, right? That is literally just a solid wave of green. There's 1 death for every 30. If a battle's going like this, don't change anything. In fact, I think I'll defend this square. I'll just sit at the edges of this and pound anybody who gets close. I could still get dropped, especially since it's a little tiny bit stuttery here, right? With this kind of many troops on the battlefield. I gotta be careful I don't get an accidental little blade here. That'll be all it takes. But what a setup, right? I mean, they are trapped between 2 different squares. Again, if they charge our archers, which would be the best thing they could do... Motherfucker, they're shooting us. Let's jam the square right into the middle of these fucking archers here. See the archers there at the gate? Let's just give them a whole bunch of guys in their face. That'll make it impossible or difficult for those guys to shoot. Suddenly there's a bunch of troops right in their face, and they all drop their bows. If the enemy started pouring through and ignoring our squares, you shove a square in front of the gate, and then you have the other square attack. And what that does is it basically closes off the courtyard to all the other units while you kill the ones that are in there, right? It'd be like if 3 guys were threatening you in a bar, and they're like, we're going to kick your ass. And I was like, all right, come, why don't you come this way and fight me? And you went into a bathroom, and there was only room enough for 1 guy in there, and every time a guy came in, you were able to kick the door shut and then beat him 1 at a time. That's basically what we're doing here, right? It's divide and conquer. We are fighting the enemy in detail. Choose your military's parallel. This here is called pounding everybody to obliteration with a very high-speed hammer. That's one of the best parts about the hammers. The hammer, these custom weapons, are incredibly fast and they're long. Those 2 things are important. That's a theme you will see when I start talking about weapons. Speed and length. Like any porn star will tell you, those are the 2 most important things in your arsenal. I'm still at risk of being shot here. Their archers are right at the doorway shooting, but I still like the setup here. We've suffered a lot of losses here. It might even be like a net neutral, where we're probably going to get, 130 or 140 troops. I heard a bunch of foot. Oh, you know what? They're running. These guys are trash talking me, telling me I'm going to hell. Let's charge these bitches. These guys want us trash talk. Let's get offensive. Let's put 1 division here, the 4th. We'll charge out with the 1st, 3rd, and 8th. And let's get archers spread up outside. Let's fucking flood these bitches. Tell me to go hell with me, huh? Alright, they got some archers in the gate, but I think our infantry can shove through that. Let's get medieval here. This fucking siege's defense is ours. And the troops that we saved in here, that's going to help a lot. Now, we may not have 150 casualties, right? 150 dead. If we have more than 150 dead, then this was a net negative loss. But it's okay, because we're introducing this series. And don't forget, I can go find looters anywhere I want and just add them to the army. Not every looter band is going to join us, but a lot will. And that's literally going to be hundreds of troops anytime we want. Now, they're weak, right? They're tier 2, tier 1. Maybe there's some tier 3 cavalry in there. Again, from the dangers. Oh shit, they turned to fight. Get killed here at the very end. Maybe with the dangerous bandit mod, we have some tier 3 looters or equivalent. I think they're called like mounted raider or some shit like that. But the point though is that we're going to be able to recover from losses. What we can't do is lose our elite troops. We can't have battles where we lose 60 Sea Raider chiefs and whatnot. Although you can see it's a pretty pitiful army here. There's fucking guys with no shoes on. There's guys with fucking barely any armor. And what a cinematic scene here, right? A glorious moment here is our raggedy armored bandits. 700 of our bandits and whatnot just blasted 3,500 Western Empire forces. And it's a net neutral, right? We lost about the same amount of troops that we're going to rescue. Of course, we are getting stronger, so overall, this is beneficial for our army, and I'm okay with this. The bottom line is I have to get familiar with this army, even at the loss of some troops. So certainly an ecstatic feeling. Look, this guy literally has no shoes. You don't have any shoes, dude? He looks exhilarated, right? We call that irrational exuberance. It's one siege defense there, fellas. It's episode 2. But clearly, our men here have some enthusiasm. They're all excited. They're staring open-eyed into the sun. They're going to be shooting awkwardly the next few battles because they're going to have sunspots. But we will take it, right? A glorious battle here where we fucking obliterate the Western Empire. We will do quite a bit of history in this side series here, in this Peasants Revolt. This eventually won't be a side series, right? This will be playing at times with the main asteroid campaign, and then the asteroid campaign will come to a conclusion. 400 troops. Yeah, see, I can't take any of these troops. Again, one of the preset rules is we're not using any of the troop lines, so this is just worthless. This is like having a Ferrari where the doors are all locked and all you can do is look at it. Here, we can take this guy. There's like 2 troops here. Here's another one. We could take these minor clans and that's about it, right? In fact, I might make a few exceptions. These armed traders, we'll take those guys. Those guys look like peasants to me and they can't upgrade. That's critical. We won't be taking recruits either, right? In the previous Peasant Revolt, we took recruits and low-level units. We're not taking any of them this campaign. I'll take this guy too, this caravan guard. These guys wearing cloth where they can't be upgraded. We'll take them. And we're going to take as many of these prisoners, these minor clan prisoners, as we can, right? Because we're gonna need every single sword and raggedy looter in this campaign to have any kind of success. We may not be able to have success. I should just preface that. Anybody who hates a bad ending, well, this campaign may not be for you. But I think it's good from a suspense perspective. You're not going to know how this is going to go because I'm not going to know how this is going to go, right? There's a lot of variables here. Normal Bannerlord, right? Most of the time people conquer the map. Here, we may not be able to, right? We may get dwindled down, captured, and drawn and quartered, like the traditional things that would happen for Revolt. We've got this guy outside the castle here. But I've got to manage these troops here. I'm trying to think if I want to drag you through the mud here. You see all these troops here that were inside. I'm gonna have to get these regular troops out of here. Our companions are recruiting here and there. We're recruiting some troops, and I must mention that a disclaimer: there will be times where our army accidentally has, an Imperial trained archer or something like that, because my companions will recruit. Even if we just go to a village, right? They'll pick up 3 Imperial recruits and whatnot. You can actually see it when you go to a village. A little thing says +4 troops from the village or whatever. I will come through here periodically and remove these troops. I'm not gonna subjugate. Wait, I'm trying to think of the right word. I'm not gonna make you guys watch this over and over again in this campaign. Just understand the process. I'm gonna take this guy too, this caravan master. He's wearing all cloth, and he can't upgrade too. So, actually, these volunteers, I think we'll take a couple of these guys into our service too because they got those hammers. Hammers are going to be part of this campaign, unlike anything you've seen before in Bannerlord. Wait till you see my Little Warband later on here. That'll be, this guy just stands here. Come with us. That'll be quite a bit later on in this campaign where we introduce some custom troops. But again, not tier 5, not tier 6, a lot of low-level troops. We're going to have basically troops that are called like upgraded looter and stuff like that, right? That look like a looter with some rags and a big pitchfork. So more is to come here. In fact, let's see how we do this. I'm going to go ahead and show you the map here, and I'm going to take a second to divide these armies. This is going to take 3, 4, 5 minutes. We won't subject you is the word I was looking for earlier. We won't make you watch this process here, and then I will be right back. All right, all neat and tidy here. Again, back to all bandits in our army. Again, we have a few that are sort of skirting the edges of bandits, the caravan defenders and stuff like that. But the key is no regular troop lines for our army. What are their handicaps? We're not going to be recruiting lords to our kingdom, right? Even though we're going to at times have that ability, we're not going to do that. Try to think of what else we're going to do here. We're not going to give peace to anybody, right? If some random kingdom declares war on us, we're not going to give peace to anybody. And at least for a little while, every month, every quarter of the game, right? Spring, summer, fall, we must give 1 million dinars to Sultan Unquid, or there will be dire consequences. Here we go. Here's a nice little perk for looters. A lot of these, the roguery line is not familiar to me because I've never done a full bandit playthrough here. Of course, you can see Cole is now spec'd to get some skill in roguery at the expense of his polearm, right? We're going to be lacking some skills from the main Aserai campaign. Cole is, of course, high level because he was the son of a fairly high level mother, Arwa, and father, the original Wazoo. Now, we've got a few companions that are pretty powerful, right? She's approaching 275 medicine skill. We've got some warriors that have been with us, leveling the last 3 years, and we've had the Death for All mod turned off. It's now back on, and so there is going to be a higher rate of death for our nobles, even Cole, and the other nobles in this campaign. And we will roll with that, right? If Cole dies, I will make a storyline adjustment for that, and we will roll with it. Here, there's a gigantic siege in a sandstorm. I wish I was there. That's probably incredibly epic. But alas, we don't have a hot air balloon. Okay, so we're going to do some more loot selling here. I know this is not the most exciting, but I want to talk about a few of the advantages that we have. We have big disadvantages, right? Huge disadvantages. We can't recruit troops, as there's a Western Empire army nearby. Let's see what we do here. Let's do some trade. We're selling loot here to get money, right? Because we've got to pay the Sultan 1 million dinars every quarter, right? That's a race that's going to be extremely difficult for us to win. We probably can't win, and of course, you can tell from the storyline, we're not going to be paying a tribute here forever. For the time being, though, we are ostensibly loyal, right? Purportedly, supposedly loyal to Sultan Unquid, and so we're going to get this irascible fucking tyrannical despot. We're going to get him his gold. So advantages, what kind of advantages? Well, for one, we have the improved camel mod, right? I haven't talked about this a lot before. The camels are a little bit better with this mod. It's a small benefit, but we've got 4 or 5 of those war camels on some of our companions. We're also going to be using the My Little Warband mod, and I will explain that in a later episode. We're also smithing, and we're doing so freely. And what I mean by that is we essentially use the console command to add a bunch of smithing skill to Cole. There's going to be 2 big advantages to that. The first is custom weapons, right? Without all the drudgery, I could have done that. It would have taken me, a bunch of hours. And I know this is a recap. I'm just trying to cover this quickly in case somebody missed part of the first episode. This guy's coming down here. Fuck him. Let's fight him. A lot of archers. This is a very difficult matchup for us. I mean, we have a decent amount of archers, but we're banged up a little bit here. We can do some upgrades. But this really is playing with fire here. This force is 2.5 times our size, and they have real troops, right? They're going to have legionnaire, they're going to have elite cataphract, and we have very few shield cavalry and stuff like that. 650. It wasn't hugely upgraded yet, though, right? You have to remember, we just destroyed 3 Western Empire forces. It looks like he wants to attack. He's thinking about it. What do you think, dude? You hesitant? I think we'll give this a go here. Fuck it. That's the motto. That's going to be, if I ever have Tactical Enlightenment merch, it's going to be something like Tactical Enlightenment with, the quotes below it. Fuck it. Let's do it. We're going to give this a shot here. Even though that looks grim, we'll see what we can do here with tactics. I got to learn this army, even at the expense of losing, right? Sometimes losing is the best way to learn in Bannerlord, and you don't win amazing battles unless you try very difficult things. Now I've got another hammer I think I want to add here. I've got like 5 or 6 hammers that we made with the smithing skill, and don't worry, you fans of smithing that want to know all this, we are going to have an entire episode about smithing that will be sort of outside of this campaign, where I talk about some of my ideas for smithing. You can see this nasty axe here. I will talk about the components necessary to make some of this equipment. And here, this is perfect. Look at how long this is, right? It's still really fast swinging, 89 speed and 136 length. So that's going to truck nobles. It's going to knock them off their horses. Okay, so they have mostly archers here. I think we will switch our banner here. I hope we've got, let's see here. I hope we've got, yeah, here we go. Minus 15% to range damage, taken damage. That's going to help, right? Because we're going to be getting pounded by arrows here. This is going to be interesting because we don't have very many archers, so we're going to have to get creative here, right? We're not going to be able just to stand at range and spar with this huge army. They're way off. We might be able to do a reverse slope decline here. It's a very, very tight landscape as far as reverse slope declines. It's going to take a high level of finesse, but I've just the experience to be able to pull this off. So I think we will start off here and then pull back over this ridge here. This is a nice ridge. We may even go further back. It kind of depends on what it looks like on the ground level. I've played Bannerlord so much now that I can recognize these things almost like you recognize a nice pair of tits under a shirt. I can just recognize these things naturally. So we'll do our two different divisions, 3rd and 6th. We really do have almost 3 identical infantry divisions, although the 6th is kind of our scrub division. We'll see if that remains the case here. I'm going to actually get down on the ground level, so to speak, and look at these infantrymen because it's important, right? I need to know these minor details. And a lot of spears, but quite a few javelins. So that'll be our primary defense infantry line. There's some scrubs in there too. Okay, so the 3rd division is packed. That's because we have it set to the highest strength unit, highest tier preference. And then the 6th is a scrub. Well, there's archers in here too. So there's archers and scrubs basically in the 6th division and a camel. So we got the 5th, 4th. I don't think we have enough crossbow in the 4th to make a true crossbow division. The 2nd cav division is... See, I don't have shields, right? I would love to do shield and shock, but I just don't have a lot of shields. Normally, I like to have heavy cav and a shield line, but we're going to have to get creative with them. We're going to have to do hit and run attacks with cav. We may even dismount cavalry a lot in this campaign, right? I've got some creative ideas on how to do that really effectively. I think we will start this battle at range and kind of see what it looks like. Of course, if the enemy charges us, we like that, right? If the enemy comes in aggressively, that's going to be good for us. If they try to shoot us at range, we're going to have to get creative because they will win that battle, right? They just have better ranged units. I can't see how many. It said they had 700 and something before the battle, and obviously our whole army doesn't have 700 units, so they certainly have a lot more archers than us. And they have probably equal or better quality archers too, right? We've got fucking bushwhackers and shit. Fortunately, we do have the forest bandits. This whole campaign would probably be impossible without an elite unit like that. Now, they're only tier 4, but anybody who's played Bannerlord at all and played with Forest Bandits will tell you it's one of the best tier 4 units in the whole game, right? They really are elite. Okay, so they have fucking 400 archers, 390-something archers. So they're going to shred cavalry. They're going to shred these unarmored archers. We've got all these militia, literally with no shield. We'll see what this looks like. Maybe they'll charge with cav before their archers engage. Now this 2nd division, I'm just going to bait their horse archers and then we will swing them around to attack, right? We're going to be yo-yoing these horse archers. And of course I'm going to fly in here for some blunt terror. Just fucking crushing people. I should mention, too, that's a nice unforeseen advantage that I have with Wazuban. If you don't know, if you already have 5 points of perks, 5 points of focus into 2-handed, and I suppose 1-handed as well, and then you use the smithing perk where it adds to, you get, what, extra focus point or something for 1-handed or 2-handed. I can't remember if it's both or one or the other. Well, I think it goes above the cap. Suddenly, Wazuban, I guess we can't call him that. Suddenly Cole here, he will have a different name at some point that hopefully I can remember more often. We're playing these two campaigns pretty near each other. There are going to be some mistakes. But hopefully our main character here eventually gets well over 330 two-handed, and that's going to be really interesting. That's going to be a new skill for me, and of course, combined with a lethally fast custom hammer, it's going to make for some incredible carnage, right? Cole is going to be a highly unique character in this campaign because he's going to be delicate wearing such weak armor, but he's also going to be a machine of damage. Yeah, I hear our guys grunting and getting hit. I don't like it. Let's go. See, their archers are just there in a giant fucking tranche. We're not going to be able to stay there. Let's look for a ridge. I got to do a little bit of reconnaissance here, but I don't think that's sustainable. So what I can do is I can pull units back here. We got to do this sort of strategically, otherwise we're going to suffer a lot of losses on the retreat. And I think we're going to look for a peekaboo ridge, a reverse slope defense. Of course, fans for the channel are very familiar with this. They're probably doing it routinely in their game and butchering the enemy. I will still explain it and describe it because I do recognize there are players watching this who have never done this tactic before. This is, I'm not exaggerating right now, this is one of the most devastating landscape tactics in the entire game. And make sure these guys are getting out and no horse archers are pursuing. It looks good, looks good. The enemy will be forced to chase us because, of course, you remember they attacked us, right? The enemy must come and attack us, and that's vital for this strategy. So we will pull back here. Not too many guys are dying. Actually, they're the ones dying. Let's not waste all these arrows. The horse archers are leaving. Let's hold fire and pull over this ridge here. What you want for reverse slope decline for a peekaboo ridge defense is a sharp ridge like this, at least 6 to 12 feet tall. And what I mean by that is just kind of estimate taller than your horse with you riding on it. If it is, then what happens, of course, is the enemy has to come over that ridge to approach you. Even if they're close to you, right, they still have to pop their head over that ridge, and then the idea is you unleash hell. You fire, you tell everybody, start shooting, and they will obliterate every single head that sticks over that ridge. Now, positioning is finesse is critically important. Right? You must get your units positioned just right, and you don't want an opening like that, right? That little valley there is not going to work. That is a little bit better, that one ahead of us there. But a lot of this I just do by feel. That's going to work. All right, let's get set up units right here in this valley. See how there's like a 150-foot wide ridge there the enemy has to come over? Yeah, of course, if they try to come around, we will adjust, right? We can simply move as they move. Think about it like from the perspective of someone's trying to shoot you, and there's a big tree in front of you, and they're going around the tree to try to shoot you. You just go around the other side, right? You put the barrier between you and them. And that's what we will do here. Of course, it takes a lot of micromanagement, it takes a lot of experience to do this. What I would recommend if you've never done this before is just try it with the custom menu battle. Find a couple maps with nice steep hills, steeper than this preferably, and give it a shot. Right? You will probably fail a few times or do some things wrong. That is one fucking huge tree. And that's good, right? Failing makes you better in the future. Failing teaches you what not to do, right? You young guys out there, if you're experiencing failure in your life, can I tell you that's good? You know how many times I've failed in my life or botched a Bannerlord battle or made a terrible financial decision? You guys are mostly young. You old guys that are still failing, oh, you guys are just losers, man. You guys are fucking finished. No, I digress. We're all constantly learning. I'm almost 50 and I still make mistakes all the time. You're going to as well. The key is to learn from your mistakes. All right, let's bring up a cav unit here to intercept their charging cav. Otherwise, your 6th Corps is going to get cut to pieces here. And I've had instances where I didn't do this, right? Where I didn't intercept their cav, and what happens? Our 6th Corps gets cut to pieces, right? This is just experience speaking. And that's the other term for it. Let's see if we can gun down this flag, this fucking insolent flag fucking overly proud horse boy here. If we can take out their flag guy, they'll lose whatever bonuses that guy has. The cavalrymen rarely pick up a flag after it's been knocked to the ground. Alright, so holding fire is critical here with a lot of our units because your javelin throwers will throw javelins at horsemen that are like 150 feet away and do almost no damage. You want them holding fire until this moment. Now you fire, right? The enemy is close. These cavalrymen will get hit point blank by javelins and the death span will light up. You will start seeing lake rats killed so-and-so, so-and-so, some other javelin thrower killed so-and-so. And we're going to continue to sort of jockey with the enemy here because the AI is being kind of cagey here. The AI recognizes this situation is bad for it, and it's trying to figure out how to surmount the difficulty here. Now, I can square with this 1st Division as well. Oh, shit. Can't get speared. I don't have any armor. Now we can just open fire, and all of these javelins are just going to start strafing those horsemen. 6th Division has some weak infantry. These guys can charge, but it's a yo-yo. We're going to charge for 10 seconds and pull back. Fling a few javelins and then pull back. One of the keys, of course, to the reverse slope defense, this peekaboo ridge, is patience. The other key is basically being able to yo-yo your men like this. Attack, charge, pull back. You have to have the patience to do this, otherwise you're going to lose. If we charge right now, this battle is over. They have 1,500 troops, we have 600, and they have better troops. You see all these horsemen? We don't have any tier 4, tier 5, tier 6 horsemen. All right, now you see their archers on the ridge trying to shoot. Look at the death spam. They're being scorched, and we're killing elite archers, right? We're killing sergeant crossbows and other archers because look at that volley of arrows. Only a couple lines of their archers can shoot, and our whole line can shoot. Our whole batch of archers can shoot. That's why this strategy works. Now we got a few archers skewered there. That's okay, right? Because we're doing major damage every time these horsemen come in. I like it. Come out, come get it, boys. You go ahead and charge. Ah, I got 2 hammers and one of them's shorter than the other one. I got to get more comfortable using the longer one. All right, another wave charging here. It's good, right? The 1st Division can charge, the 6th can charge, the 3rd can charge. The javelins are still flying. In fact, I don't want the 3rd charging. I just want them holding the line here. It's bloody, but it's good death spam overall, right? I glance over there every once in a while, and it looks mostly green. Of course, they're attacking us with elite cataphracts, and these guys are pounding on fucking mounted ransackers and fucking brigands and shit like that. We're gonna suffer losses. Any victory in this battle is an acceptable victory. We're probably gonna have huge losses even if we win. So keeping that square, those guys are mostly out of ammo in that 1st Division. This 3rd Division still has javelins left. It says they have no ammo, but I can see fucking javelins sticking out of those guys' shoulder packs. And this hammer is just a joy to wield. Now they're right on this ridge, and the enemy's being very hesitant to come over it because of the archer fire, right? You can see the arrows coming up there. Every time they stick their heads up, they're getting shot. Eventually here, we're going to charge these bitches. We're going to surround them and charge them from 3 sides. Now before we do that, we definitely want to cut down these cavalrymen. Right? You don't want to commit to battle here till you have a clear advantage. Right now, we're causing death, right? We're scorching their units. This might be infantry charging here. It is. All right, let's go ahead and attack this with the 3 prongs. We can get our 8th Corps up here as well. So we have the 6th, 1st, and 3rd as primary weapons here. The 1st is going to be in a square to just absorb some attention. We will flank them from the enemy's right with this 3rd Division. And then we can get cavalry sort of on their wing as well. Hopefully these 5 forces here with archer support can kill those, right? They got legionnaires in there and elite Manabliatons. We're going to definitely have some losses here. Fortunately, they have no archer support, right? I don't see their archers anywhere nearby. Every time I look at the ridge, there's nobody there. This is a fucking tough infantry, though. And it's a lot, right? This is a lot of infantry. They're holding a thick shield wall here. I don't see any archers. Fuck these guys. Let's just do an all charge. Everybody gets to charge. Hold fire, charge. I think their archers fell back. All right, it's time to destroy this infantryman. They have no support at all. Kill every single one of these guys here. You just want everybody to charge and hold fire. Oh shit! We do some fumbling here. That way they're not wasting their ammo. These guys all just get in there, hold fire. Don't waste time with javelins. Just get your sword on their asses, and we're going to be able to annihilate this vanguard. Down go all these legionaries and elite cataphract. Now we just got to get this division pulled back, and we will reset. This is the patience part of this. If this is boring for you, I understand. That's no problem, right? Some guys are just, unfortunately, these fucking phones are giving us all the attention span of like a goldfish. This is literally proven. This is not a good thing, by the way. Set your phone down on a regular basis. Don't use it. Take a walk in nature. Fucking leave it at home. And these phones are really fucking people's brains up, and we have no idea, ultimately, the consequences of these phones, right? We're just using them. We're just fucking putting them by our bedsides, or worse, the guys that are texting in bed. If you're doing that shit, don't do that, right? Unless you're like, your wife is pregnant and you must text or something like that. Don't waste time with social media before bed. I just plead with you fellas to leave your phones a lot of the times. These devices are very useful. What we got going on here? You guys are interrupting my fucking I'm on my soapbox, motherfucker. You guys are interrupting me. Kill them. It looks like they have a handful of infantry trickling in here. Anyways, so don't get overly social with your media, right? You wanna basically have big breaks, do things for your brain that help your endurance, right? You wanna watch documentaries and movies and shit like that, not just fucking 12-second snippets, girls shaking their ass on TikTok and whatnot. Do yourself a big favor, and you really are doing yourself a favor, right? Don't overuse social media. All right, enough soapbox, right? You guys don't need to be preached to. I'm sure your fucking parents and your friends and, you know, your big sister and shit are already saying this shit, hopefully. We get back to tactics here. Now, I do have a handful of shields here. We're going to guard this right side. I see some Jawals that have shields over there. And what we'll do frequently with guys without shields is we will dismount them. Now, look how many javelins are in there, right? Let's get these guys stretched way out. Your skirmishers will not throw javelins if they're at the very back. If there's a fucking guy in front of them who smells like fucking body odor, they can't throw their javelins, right? So you want them in a very long shield wall. That way they have enough elbow room to wind up and throw, right? And they've got an insolent lord up there fucking preparing this next attack. But we be patient here, right? They're moving their cavalry to our wings here. Probably going to make a combined charge attempt. Just not with that horse. And we wait, right? We wait until they're visible over the ridge. It's not actually going to take very long. In fact, they're already coming up over it. Yeah, and so as soon as you see their little insolent heads fire, the javelins and arrows start flying up there, we can add ours to the mix. And watch the death spam, right? That was like 15 guys who insta-died. And their archers are doing very little damage, right? In fact, let's flank these bitches. These fucking weak, pathetic bitches. I got this division here. Let's put them on a flank. Let's get an archer division. What can we use here? We've got the 6th. We can move the 6th to that flank as well. This is the big advantage of using 8 divisions, right? Is I can effectively move like we have 3 different armies. These guys will all be able to get to a flank. They're being charged, but there's like 20 cavalry there. I'm just not worried about that. They'll kill a guy or 2. It's okay. Fucking asshole cavalry. But that's good death spam, right? The forest bandits are lighting shit up. Our lake rat wreckers. These are 2 elite minor clans. Anybody watching this who's experienced knows that we have at least some chance just with those 2 units. If you had only lake rat wreckers and forest bandits, you would be able to do some major damage in Bannerlord. They are very powerful minor clans. I guess the forest bandit's not a minor clan. One of the top bandits. We actually even have a few of the boss bandits too, just acquired from hideouts where you can take them prisoner and then eventually they can join your army. It's pretty sick. Now I've got this division off the horse, right? This 7th division, they used to be on a horse. They're just extra archers now, and that's a really good way to use these mounted pillagers. Use their horse as a barrier. We can use the other cav division's horse as a barrier, and then they become a good shield wall. Spear troops, right? Yeah, these fucks here are about to get swallowed up. Right now, we're just going to weaken them for a little bit more. I'm going to do a few terrorist attacks here, fly in, kill a few guys. But when the death spam looks like that, don't change anything. Right? This is a situation, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. These archers here have a great angle on them. They're getting shot some, but we're definitely doing more damage than we're taking. 3, 4, maybe a 5-to-1 kill ratio from this exchange over here. Of course, I can help too. Fuck you guys shooting at my troops here. Run them over, get in and get out because I don't have any armor. And I keep saying that. That's not fair. I don't have a lot of armor, especially in vulnerable spots like the head. I think it's time to charge these bitches. We're just scorching them. They do have 2 cav lines I'm worried about. We can start the 4th. The 4th and 5th are almost out of ammo. Let's move those guys forward. The 6th and 3rd over here. We can get the 8th Corps to the other side to charge. I'm going to get behind the enemy. We're going to put the 9th Corps behind the enemy here. If you guys have never seen that before, I am the 9th Corps. We're going to get in there and fucking savage the enemy here with the rear flank. These divisions here could charge. The 3rd, 6th, in they go. They're going to pinch the enemy. The enemy's going to try to spread their archers out, so I'll pull the 8th Corps to me, and then I'm going to meet these fucking archers. In fact, we'll use this big tree. We said hi to this big tree earlier. I'm going to use this big tree here. My own horse runs into me, and in we go. All these archers trying to spread out, then attack with the 9th Corps. And this super fast hammer. Now, a lot of death spam, right? We're charging good units here. It's not like we're just going to one-shot this higher level army. But our infantry is going to arrive in manifestly larger number, I think, than the enemy. They have a lot of archers. Our infantry should start making some hay here. This fucking Lord, I would love to unseat her ass. But I don't want to get distracted. We're going to continue to focus on their archers, so their archers can't shoot. Let's make sure they can't shoot us. These guys are all blue-balled. They haven't been able to shoot the whole battle. They're fucking angry, and now they're getting clubbed to death. If it didn't break the copyright code, I would use the Matrix Club to Death song for this shit. It would fit perfectly. Just boom, boom, I won't be able to do that. I'm no beatbox master. I wish I was. I'd be able to fucking perfectly emulate the Club to Death from the Matrix. If you're curious what the fuck I'm referring to, if you haven't seen the Matrix, my God, go see it tonight. And if you don't know the scene or remember the scene, it's the lady with the red dress. All right, that is it. The enemy's fucking fleeing. Let's kill a few of their horse boys here on the way out. And what a fucking glorious couple battles this were as we test this bandit army here, right? We're going to get on a camel. I just looked up at our power bar. We suffered a lot of losses here, but what a great victory, right? Our fucking guys charged forward with their flag, and there's a lot of troops left here still. I would say we have... This looks like a good solid... I'll look in a second, but this looks like every bit of 150, 200 troops. Guys without shoes, put a shoe on. We've got a giant-nosed mounted ransacker. Let's take a look at this. Oh, I didn't mean to insult you there, bud. He's got quite a fucking nose. I've got a nose in real life, so I feel for you fellas with big noses. But what a fucking glorious victory here, and a great start for this series, right? 2 big battles in this campaign, 1 in the last campaign. We're sort of working our way up here to fighting with the big boys, and this counts. We're going to get stronger, of course, as this campaign goes up, right? His two-handed skill up to 327, right? So we're manifestly getting stronger as we get along in this campaign. There are going to be plot twists in this campaign. I assure you there'll be some, let's see if we got any free troops here. It doesn't look like it. There are going to be some cutscenes, right? These cutscenes are a very slow process for me. It takes a while to find the scenes, create the scenes, and then clip them all together. But I do like setting the ambiance for you fellas. So there'll be some plot twists, some cutscenes, some interesting shit, some profanity, a little bit of historical anecdote. We'll definitely do some history. I will get on my soapbox every so often and tell you guys to not use social media all the time, and some other shit. And then we will try to enlighten you tactically, right? That is the main focus of this entire series. My whole channel is dedicated towards getting guys to think more about battlefield tactics. So, okay, this guy's smart. He's running, unlike that other dipshit. It's time to go to more towns here, right? We've got to heal up now. We've got almost 300 or almost 400 injured here. It's time to find some looters, too. We got to replenish the ranks. And we've got about a week here before we need to go get a bunch of money over to the Sultan and pay, to quote fucking Rounders, pay that man his money, right? The great poker movie with fucking John Malkovich. Fucking great. Matt Damon. If you haven't seen that, if you play poker at all and you haven't seen that, I don't know what the fuck, if it's just an old movie now or what, but that's a great flick. All right, we're going to wrap this episode up. Of course, if you want to see more from this series, you want to subscribe. Of course, subscribe and hit notifications if you want to be notified when there's a new episode out. I don't know how many episodes there are going to be in this campaign. There might be 4, there might be 34. We shall see. Depends partly on how much you guys like it. So hit that like button, leave some comments. I appreciate that. It helps draw more fellas to the channel. With all that said, I will see you friends next time.